Diapers are quite costly, same with formula. So we work with local distributors such as Nestle, and they provide great discounts for us.
Well, hello everybody. I'm Chris Dinnell with the Dinnell Real Estate Group, Richmond's community realtors, and here we are on episode 3 of Amazing Richmondites. And boy, do we ever have an amazing Richmondite here today, Keith Yee, who was born and raised in the East Kootenays, but moved here in 2000. Keith has been married for 10 years in June and has 2 young boys. This will be his 10th anniversary at the Richmond Food Bank working as a general manager, and Keith's role includes many things, but primarily looking over the warehouse, working with community donors, and the logistics of increasing fresh and healthy donations to our community members in need. Welcome, Keith, to the program, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely, no problem at all. And my first question to you is, tell us something interesting about yourself.
Something interesting. I would say aside from the working at the food bank full time, I also do photography and have a photo booth business.
A photo booth. Okay, wow. And now I think you were mentioning before that you do a lot of, photography for charity events and that you like to donate your time.
Yeah, I like to donate my time. It just turned from a hobby to almost a profession, but I like to give back. And so I like to do lots of charity events, galas, and just to give back some of my stuff that I see people giving their time into the food bank. So I like to volunteer also on top of working at the food bank.
Wow, that is great. And I've been a volunteer at the food bank myself. I see you always running around with the camera, uploading photos on social media, and you do a great job. So thank you for that, Keith. Now, how many families does the Richmond Food Bank help out each year?
On a yearly basis, I would say we have approximately 70,000 visits, people coming on daily time. Per week, we have about 700 households that come to the food bank to get their groceries.
Well, 7. And so what's the usual way that are they coming to pick them up? Or are they getting dropped off? And do you also have any pickup centers around Richmond? Like how are you guys distributing everything?
So we have multiple ways how people can receive their groceries. First one, come in person to a depot or our main location to pick up. We have our main site on Cedar Bridge, but we also have 2 off-site depots, one in East Richmond, one in West Richmond. And the third way is a delivery service, which we have ramped up since COVID because of the quarantine, self-isolation. So that's how I met you, Chris.
Yes.
How you guys come to the food bank to pick up and deliver to people that are not able to come to the food bank.
Well, I always say Tuesday mornings are my favorite day of the week because I get to see you guys and I get to see the smiles on the people I've been delivering to over the past, almost a year now. It's been, we started in March, so it's been about 10 months now. And, it just melts my heart every Tuesday. I just love giving back to our community, just like yourself. So how has the food bank been affected by COVID?
Once COVID came into effect and we realized how we had to change things at the food bank, the greatest challenge was to think of how we should distribute food safely to the public. So we went from having a grocery style model when people used to come into the food bank and choose their foods to changing that to a hamper program because we do not allow any clients to come into the food bank to collect their food anymore. So people need to line up outside, and we try our best to get it done as fast as possible, as safe as possible, having people spaced out as much as possible. So now people receive a hamper but they still receive some choice in terms of protein, bakery goods, deli items. So that was the biggest challenge for us to just remodel how we distributed food to our community. Other challenges was the number that increased. So we have about 30% increase in new members coming to the food bank. So ramping up the amount of hampers we have to make, how many fresh produce hampers we have to make, and also the deliveries. The deliveries ramped up from, I would say, 30 households prior to the pandemic to when the pandemic first started, it was over 100 deliveries.
Wow.
Which your group helped tremendously in helping us get those groceries to these people that are isolated. Since the pandemic started, there has been lots of the families coming to the food bank, so not needing the delivery service anymore. But we still have about 80 households still needing delivery service.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And how are you guys getting a lot of the fresh produce and breads and things like that? I get it with like the canned goods. A lot of people are dropping them off, but where are you getting all this fresh produce and stuff from?
So we started a food recovery program, say a year and a half to 2 years ago. We work with an organization called Food Mesh, and they coordinate a relationship with Overweight Group. So since then, we've been receiving fresh produce, fresh meats, fresh dairy, fresh deli every single day. So we pick up every day except for Christmas. And this includes produce, meats, deli, everything you can think of. And since then, we were now offering, say, fresh frozen meats to our clients rather than what we used to do prior to the food recovery program, where we only offered tinned salmon, tinned tuna. And you and I, how often do we eat tinned tuna for dinner? We eat ground beef or chicken or say more veggies. So we're moving towards more of a fresh model. So more fresh produce, fresh dairies, fresh meats. And it's been going over really well with the clients. They've expressed their gratitude and how much they enjoy receiving the foods that they normally wouldn't have got, say, 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's great. And I've also noticed in some of the hampers that I've been delivering is you're also doing like baby formula and diapers and even some baby toys and things. How are you guys getting that type of stuff?
So this is, we still receive that type of items through donations, but we do need to purchase these items very frequently. Diapers are quite costly, same with formula. So we work with local distributors such as Nestle, and they provide great discounts for us.
Wow, that's great. So that actually will go on to my next question is how could somebody donate? And I think you also mentioned before too that giving cash donations is great because your cash donations can stretch a lot further. So why don't you explain that?
So with monetary donations, which I encourage because it allows us to stretch that dollar. So every dollar that is donated, we can provide up to $6 worth of food. This also allows us to purchase foods that we are in short of. So for example, every week we purchase fresh dairy. So everyone that uses the food bank gets fresh dairy from us. And also vegetables and produce when we run low. Even though we pick up every day from the grocery stores, we still need to have a good amount of, say, carrots, potatoes, onions, some staple foods, vegetables for our people. And like you mentioned, formula is quite expensive as well. So we work with local distributors to get those items. So for example, if we went to a store and bought 3,000 cans of tuna, we're going to get much cheaper than if you went to the store and bought it the price that they have there. So part of my job is to work with local grocery stores, distributors, and build those relationships so we can bring down costs when we need to purchase these items.
Well, that is great. So if somebody donates $100, they're realistically donating 600. It's just like 6 times more.
Yeah, it allows us to provide more food to the community or for the people that come to the food bank with monetary donations. And it also helps us provide the right types of foods. So of course we love donations, like non-perishable donations, but putting yourself into their shoes and what would you really like to have for a meal? Fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, fresh protein, fresh dairy. So we look at that type of perspective of what would I like to have for dinner, breakfast, or lunch, and provide them with the right foods for them to have those foods.
Well, and then I've also seen too, you guys do like vegan options and things like that for people with dietary restrictions and.
Yeah, so that's one reason we went to say the grocery style model, because with the diet restrictions, culture restrictions, or culture choices, everyone eats different types of foods. So rather than us giving you just like a certain food group, people can say, I eat halal, or I'm kosher, or I'm gluten free. And we have these in stock just to give to them and provide them with the foods that they will eat or want to eat. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So you guys have really innovated just over the past few years by these programs that you're starting, and obviously you've created some great relationships with the grocery stores. So thank you for this. You know, and I know you're putting smiles on obviously 70,000 people's faces every year, which is just remarkable. Now, you know, you've been the GM for coming up 10 years, so happy anniversary. What is your favorite part of your job? What makes you do what you do?
What makes me stay here is probably the people, the community at large. Working with people in the community is fantastic. You meet people such as yourself, Chris, and others that just want to give back to the community and help those in need in the community. So that's probably the biggest enjoyment, just seeing people um, giving back to the community and working with people that want to help.
Well, we thank you for what you're doing here in the community and the food bank, everybody there at the food bank and all the volunteers. Thank you, thank you. You know, you're keeping smiles on people's faces, especially during these hard times. You know, and all the volunteers. Now, if somebody else wanted to volunteer, how can they volunteer with you guys?
If someone was interested in volunteering with the food bank, you just need to go to our website, www.richmond.org, and just fill out an online application. At the moment, we're pretty restrictive of how many volunteers we have because of the amount of people we are allowed in the building and keeping safe distances. But just put your application in, and then our volunteer manager can get in touch with you and have an interview with yourself.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Keith, for jumping on here with us today. And we really do appreciate what you and the food bank are doing, helping out our community. And I think you were bang on with what you said before, is it is a real community here, especially during COVID. We've all come together to help out. So I wanted to thank you and continue doing what you're doing. Happy 10-year anniversary. And, you know, everybody watching out there, please do what you can to donate. Volunteer if you can, because the more we come together as a community, the better our city and the better our home is going to be. So thank you so much, Keith.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, bye for now.